Hi, and welcome back to the Power of PD YouTube channel. My name is Erica Harrell. I am your host, and I'm excited for this week because we are talking about how to select a platform to host your professional development program. Whether you have a course or a group program or even a professional development series that you are hosting for schools, a hosting platform can be a great way to allow for your learners or your clients or both to access your materials. So let's jump right into this week's video. So I know from being an ed consultant and working with many ed consultants that you can feel a sense of overwhelm about the technology that comes along with these digital platforms, how to use them, all the features they have, if one is better than the other for what you need or what you desire. And so I am excited to break this down to how to select one, what things to think about, what to look for, what is important, what's not, as you are deciding what platform you're going to go to with. Okay, so before I jump into like how you want to decide to select a platform, let's talk about what the platforms are and what are some examples. So again, I touched on this a minute ago, but platforms are really this space for you to upload all of your things. So if you are hosting a course with pre-recorded videos, you want to include those videos there. If you have a program and you want to put the video replays there, you will put them up on your platform. If you have resources or handouts, you put them on your platform. If you want to allow your learners to communicate with each other in between sessions, you could pick a platform that allows them to do that. So it's great if it's a one-stop shop with everything for your learners to go to. And oftentimes you can choose on some of them to make it password protected or not. So that means that like your clients or your learners have to be given a unique login and password so that hopefully they're the only person to log in and view the information there. Of course, people unethically share passwords, but the goal is that this is a way to protect your information versus like putting it all on Google Drive and sharing the link to that folder that can easily be shared. And it just feels a little less protected. The other thing with a lot of these platforms is they're really user friendly and they look and feel really clean and neat and just take your program up a level versus, like I said, if you're using like Google. So there are different reasons you'll pick different platforms. So I want to get into some of those reasons in just a minute. Okay, so there are 4 different types of reasons I want you to think about as you're selecting a platform. The first one is sales. So when I think about sales, you want to decide if you need or want your platform to be able to make the sale for you, meaning your clients would put their credit card information into that platform for you to receive the money, and then it will give them access. So like some platforms do that, some platforms don't. Some platforms charge for the number of sales that you would have coming through. So you want to be thoughtful about that. So first and foremost, you want to think about, do I need my sales to go through this platform? And be thoughtful of, how many sales will be coming through. Does the platform have a threshold for that? Within sales, you also want to think about payment plans and coupons. These are 2 things that my clients run into a lot. So some programs or platforms rather have the option to have coupons, but sometimes it's only at a certain level. So if you pay for like or if you're on the free version, it might not allow you to have coupons. And if you're not on the free version, then you would have coupons. So you want to decide like if you're not ready to pay for a platform and you're going to use a free version, and you know that down the road you might, or even now, you might want to have coupons, then you probably want to not go with that platform. So some of my clients will use coupons when they launch, like a discounted price. There's workarounds if there's no coupons, but it just makes your life easier if there are coupons. So I would say double check about the coupons. The other thing to double check when you're researching and looking into programs is payment plans. So if you want to be able to offer payment plans, let's say you have a high priced program like a group coaching program or a professional development series, that you're going to charge through this platform, which I actually wouldn't suggest if you're working with a school, you charge them through a platform. They might have access to your stuff on your platform, but that's a different story. I would say if you want folks to pay you through payment plans where it's broken down over the course of a few months, then you want to make sure that your platform has the ability to do that. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. It's like, what does it look like to sell in this platform? What are the costs associated with that on your end? What are the payment plans? What are the coupons? Okay, the next thing to consider is what does the storage of your materials, what does that look like, and some details about that. So first and foremost, do they have the option for it to be password protected? And then secondly, is there the option to only give access for a specific amount of time? So here's what I mean by that. A lot of times people will say you'll have lifetime access to the materials. If that's what you choose to do, you don't need this feature. But I know many of us do not want to provide lifetime access to our intellectual property. So we say you'll have 6 weeks of access, or 9 months, or 6 months, or a year, whatever it is. So you want to know, does this platform allow you to automatically, by setting up some type of automation or clicking the amount of time, will they remove those people from that content automatically? Because what you don't want to have to do is to go in and do this manually. So that's probably pretty important things that sometimes folks don't think about. So you want to consider that when you're selecting a platform when it comes to storage. And the last piece when I think about storage is just like, do you like the way it looks? Like, I know that might seem like a small detail, but so much of providing a great service is a really clean, neat, easy to use product. And if your clients don't find it easy to use, they're not going to use it. And it's not going to be as likely that they'll get the transformation from the learning that you're providing. So make sure that you think it's easy to use, maybe even do some user testing where you have some clients use it and give you your feedback before committing to it for a long run. So then it comes to storage, you're thinking about password protection, you're thinking about the access time. Does it allow you to take away access automatically after a set period of time? And then just overall, the feel, the look, the ease of use. All right, so next you want to be thinking about communication. So some of these platforms will allow you to communicate with your learners through the platform. And sometimes it's not even about you communicating with them. The platform will automatically send communications to them for you. So you want to be clear about what are all the communications that are being sent and what are all the possibility for communication to your learners and clients. And this is just important because as the facilitator of this learning, as the provider of this service, as the consultant, you want to just make sure that you understand the full scope, the full breadth of everything that your clients are getting. Every piece of communication that comes from you, represents your business and your consulting firm. So you just want to be clear about that. So some things that I've seen in these platforms is that they allow you to email just one-off emails to all the learners. So if that's something that is important to you, you want to explore that and see what that looks like. They also, some of them allow you to set up automations where, after 3 days in the program, you can have an email that's already set up to say, please share feedback with me. You could say, we have our session every Wednesday evening. So every Thursday morning, I'm going to send them an email saying, thank you for joining. The replay is now available. You could set up an automation that says, our program is coming to an end. Please sign up for the next program. Here's the details. So there are some systems, platforms where you can just set up automations and those emails will go out. So some just allow for one-off emails, some allow for automations, and then also some allow for data about the emails. How many people opened the email? How many people clicked the link in the email? They give you different pieces of data that could be really potentially helpful to you if you are running multiple iterations of your program. So if you're running your program in Q1 of the year, and then you get to run it again in Q3, you could take time during Q2 to review the data and make decisions around things to continue to do, things to change, things to tweak for the next go around. So that's helpful. So it might be good to look into what type of communication and email communication. Some also have the ability to do text messaging communication, but getting to know how can you communicate through these platforms with your learners and what do you need is in terms of your program. All right, the last piece of information to be thinking about when you're selecting a platform is community. So some of these platforms have more robust ability to build community than others. I will say that many consultants use things like Voxer, Slack, or Facebook groups to build community. And so they're not necessarily looking for it to be in this program platform. But some of us do want it to be all in one place to make it just a little bit easier for our learners and users. And so some platforms have the ability to comment on threads and respond to other learners' comments. So that might be something that you're interested in. Some of them have the ability to comment on lessons. So when you put a lesson or a video in, then you can give them the ability to be able to make comments within that. And then some even have the ability to give their learners badges to like build them up, build the community of like who's getting through this content. So you might want to look into what type of community building ability does the program or platform have so that you can use that in your program if that's something that's important to you. Okay, so just as a recap, we talked about sales, storage, communication, and community, all things you want to take a look at and explore as you are selecting a platform. 2 more quick tips around selecting a platform. First and foremost, I would say do a quick search, get it narrowed down to 2, max 3 platforms that you're considering, and then go to YouTube and look for videos around these 2 platforms, comparing them. Those are oftentimes really helpful. The folks who are comparing them will show you both the front end, meaning what clients see, and then the back end, meaning what you would see as you're setting it up. And then the last tip is so many of the platforms have free trials. So just pick one and do a 2-week free trial. I will be doing a live video on Instagram in the coming weeks about how to get the most out of this free trials. So if you are interested in that, definitely join me live there. My Instagram is at Erica Harrell Consulting, so you can find me there. But I hope that this video was helpful to just kind of release some of the overwhelm about all of this technology. Also, just the end of the day, just pick one and start using it. And if you do not like it that much, you can always cancel. So as you're using it, try to get into a little bit of each of those 4 things: the sales, the communications, the community, the storage. And that gives you a pretty good overview of the whole platform. And then you can decide if you want to keep moving forward with it before you put too much time into it. But 2 weeks, commit to that time. Those free trials are typically 2 weeks, and then either stick with it or move on from it. So I hope that this is helpful. Please drop any comments or questions you have, especially if you're like, okay, I'm ready to do this, and you get into one of them and you're kind of like, oh, I'm not sure. Love to support and be a thought partner. And then also feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any of the future videos that I put out. Thank you so much for joining me. And until the next video comes out, please don't forget to embrace the power of PD.